Welcome to the show, guys. This show is brought to you by Pristine Auction. Look at this month's giveaway. Oh my goodness, it's a signed Dalvin Cook speed helmet, as you can see here. To enter, guys, it's free to enter. Go to pristineauction.com. Use promo code SWAGLINE. Create an account. You're entered for all of these draws, including the signed speed helmet Dalvin Cook right here. Beautiful, guys. Authenticated signed speed helmet here, Dalvin Cook. To enter, pristineauction.com. Use code SWAGLION. That'll get you into all draws moving forward. I'm excited for today's show. We're talking about 5 running backs, guys. 5 running backs I trust for fantasy football 2022. Super excited to dive into this episode. And for a lot of people, fantasy football championships, I'm so impressed with you guys. So many champions. I mean, go check out my Instagram, Fantasy Football Counselor. So many Lions won because of Najee Harris. If you guys watched the game, pretty impressive run there by Najee Harris at the end. I'm super excited for Fantasy Football 2022. Today, in this video, we're going to talk about 5 running backs I trust going into Fantasy Football 2022, the very early list and early discussion. Let's get to the show. All right, guys, welcome to the show. We're talking fantasy football running backs 2022. Can you believe it, guys? We just finished up 2021. We're moving on to fantasy football 2022. Just like that, we're going to be diving into the content. If you're new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button. The off-season content is going to be insane as we ramp up because we do the digging now and we prime ourselves, guys, for the season. 5 running backs that I think I should, that I could trust for 2022. Again, this is very early. A lot of my rankings, everything comes out, by the way, pre-order for 16 rounds coming soon as well. Stay tuned for that. Follow my Instagram to get in on that early for the best price. But I do all of my digging mainly after the NFL draft. That's when everything gets laid out, the depth charts. I know what's up. But it's still not too early to talk about this. So let's dive into this, guys. 5 running backs I trust for fantasy football 2022. And there's no guarantees because literally, these running backs are drafted in the first round. Look at Zeke Ellie in the championships, 4 points, right? Dalvin Cook, 4 points. Nick Chubb, crap in the bed. A lot of these guys, CMC getting hurt, Saquon Barkley, crap in the bed. So many of these guys that were in the first round, crap the bed. So who do we trust? And the honest answer is I don't really trust anybody. So that's why I have to get depth. That's why I go robust RB. But if I had to trust somebody, if there's 5 running backs I had to trust going into 2022, these are the guys. First guy is Jonathan Taylor. How do you not trust him? Although every time a running back or a player, most of the time anyway, unless you look back at Antonio Brown, and he had those consecutive 3 or 4 seasons where he absolutely crushed it. Derrick Henry had a couple of good seasons. But mostly, guys, when people have pinnacle years, they decline the year after, right? It's very hard to maintain a consistent year the year after. But if I had to trust somebody, Jonathan Taylor would be one of them. I mean, he's going to be on top of everybody's list this year. A guy I was high on in his rookie year, but really started to break out, really broke out this past year. So 2022, Jonathan Taylor's a guy, he's probably going to go top 2, top 3 picks, understandably so. 1,734 yards. What do you have, 18 touchdowns? I mean, this is ludicrous. The guy crushed it. So when you're looking at Jonathan Taylor, you're like, okay, I need a workhorse running back. He's an option. He's going to be the guy in Indy with a good O-line. So Jonathan Taylor, predicate he stays healthy because that's the key thing with running backs. He is a guy that I trust as a running back. I would consider grabbing him in round 1. And not to jump on the bandwagon because, again, the youth is there, the talent is there, the opportunity, the volume, all the elements are there. With that, again, possible thought of a possible decline coming off a pinnacle year. Okay, so I'm going to go with Jonathan Taylor here as a guy I trust. But again, I don't really trust anybody. Okay, so that's something you got to be aware of. Second guy I trust here, Najee Harris, the guy that I was high on, the guy I ended up getting in the second round in most of my drafts, but would have gone first, would have taken him in the first round, anyway. So I was just very fortunate to be ahead of the curve and be able to grab him as my RB2. But Najee Harris, the second running back, I definitely trust. Guy's going to get the workload. Now, we don't know whether Big Ben's coming back. If he does come back, which I don't think he is, it's going to help him. Even if he doesn't come back, whatever quarterback that comes in there, I mean, I hope it works out for these guys. They just got to, the Steelers got to improve that O-line. And, Najee Harris is going to be in his second year. He's going to be in the groove. He's going to be feeling good. So I'm hoping that Najee Harris has a great year. The volume definitely is there. The talent is definitely there. The opportunity is there. He can run, he can catch. He's strong. He is everything you need in a running back, and he's another guy that I trust going into 2022. And those are very hard words to say when I say trust running back. And literally, after looking at this list, there's only 3 running backs I trust, and the third one's coming up right now, and there's 2 more that I may trust, but I'm not really there. I'm not really there. So the third guy here is Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is going to come back from an injury, and at the end of the day, man, I got to trust him. I got to trust Derrick Henry. He's coming back. I think he could finish ahead of Jonathan Taylor coming off a injury, but he should be good to go. Volume, opportunity, talent. Yeah, you could take the side of the youth with Jonathan Taylor, but I think Derrick Henry could surpass him in 2022 and have his best and final strong year. I still think he's got 1 year at least left in him, and I think this is going to be a strong one for Derrick Henry coming up, looking to bounce back. So he's a third running back I trust. Again, no particular order, but just running backs I could say, hey, you know what? I trust that guy to do really, really well. Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, Najee Harris. Now it gets really dicey because there's a lot of other running backs here that I don't trust. But I have to, I said 5 in this video, so I gotta put 5 in here as names that I trust. I'm gonna go with 2 young guns here that getting them at the right ADP, I do trust them having a good year, okay? The first one is Javonte Williams, okay? I'm gonna trust him. He finished 15th as of, looking at how many weeks are we in here? 17 weeks in. I'm doing this at 17 weeks into the season here. So A.J. Dillon and Javonte Williams are my other 2. I want to tell you straight up. Those are the 2 guys I trust. Javonte Williams, I'm going to knock these out 2 birds, 1 stone. Javonte Williams finishing 15th. I'm looking at this 196 fantasy points. We're looking at 191 attempts with Melvin Gordon there. And A.J. Dillon finishing 22nd, the way I'm looking at them sitting here amongst running backs in PPR after 17 weeks of 2021 fantasy football. Going into 2022, these guys are still young. And they're in positions where I think, Melvin Gordon, I never think is that good. He's only had 1 1,000-yard rushing season. I think Javonte Williams is the future, younger, better, stronger. And, I don't know what's going to happen in the offseason. Again, we don't know. But if they ship Melvin Gordon off, either way, I think Javonte Williams should be starting. And given at the right ADP, if I can get him as my RB2, I'm all over it. I trust him. I think he's good, young talent, and I think he's going to get the volume. 191 attempts with Melvin Gordon there, right? 4.5 yards per carry, 4 touchdowns. And again, Melvin Gordon took some of those goal line touchdowns. There's no way around it. Melvin Gordon's a pest. So assuming Melvin Gordon's going to be gone, I really like Javonte Williams this year. I absolutely love him. I don't know what to tell you. I love the opportunity, love the talent, and I love the opportunity. Melvin Gordon hoarding away 7 of those touchdowns. I think that's going to go to Javonte Williams this upcoming year. And I trust him at the right ADP. Would I spend a first-round pick? No, not if Melvin Gordon's there. If Melvin Gordon's shipped off and we know Javonte Williams is getting that starting job, this guy could slide to a mid-first round, late first-round pick. And I trust that. And I trust the opportunity. I trust the talent. I trust the Broncos in regards to working him and running him. And again, they got to figure out that quarterback situation, hopefully get the receivers locked in, and hopefully he gets a lot of opportunity, which I think he will. So I trust him. And going back to A.J. Dillon here, Aaron Jones, he's hit his pinnacle. He's had his hurrah year, right? And he had 171 attempts last year, but the guy gets banged up a little bit. Is he going to be on the team still? What's going on? Is A.J. Dillon going to take the reins there? And A.J. Dillon can get it done in the receiving game. Again, 33 receptions, 2 receiving touchdowns, 309 yards. He can catch the ball, and he's a goal line vulture, right? He had 5 touchdowns, could have got more. Aaron Jones had the 4. Aaron Rodgers tends to throw the ball in a lot. Devontae Adams gets those receiving touchdowns. So, when it comes down on the goal line, A.J. Dillon's going to be the guy. Again, at the right ADP, I trust this guy. I really do. Now, there's going to be other rookies coming in. Depends on where they fall. But I see maybe another couple guys I trust. Similarly, the way I trusted Najee Harris the past year, saw the opportunity was there. I still see maybe a running back coming in, maybe getting that opportunity, depending on what team he lands on. But it's very rare that you get workhorse running backs. Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, Najee Harris, and those are the only 3 I trust. And then I tack on A.J. Dillon and Javonte Williams based on talent, opportunity, and youth, predicated that they get that start. So a ton of opportunity, guys, a ton of excitement going into 2022 fantasy football. And I'll be very selective with my running backs. But the way it sits right now, we're talking January 2022, very early here. These are the 5 running backs I trust. These are the top 5 running backs that I think have that potential. But again, the last 2 predicate on that situation could be workhorse running backs. And there's other great talent. You could say Austin Eckler could do well, right? Austin Eckler, a little banged up during the season. Dalvin Cook, I don't trust him. He doesn't stay healthy. Joe Mixon had a good year, but I literally think Joe Mixon blew his load because prior to this year, he wasn't that good. Mind you, the offense got better. Jamar Chase came in, right? Joe Burrow, they finally got into that groove, which I kind of anticipated, but Joe Mixon had years while we're not wowed, finally getting over, 13 touchdowns, 1,205 yards, finally having that good year. You could say you trust him, but one good year out of, 5 or 6 that he played, I'm not really completely sold on there. Zeke Ellie, another guy you could say you could trust with a very safe floor, but he got you 4 points in the fantasy football championships. Very hard to trust with that emerging Pollard situation. Maybe Zeke's on a decline. So, you kind of trust him to be safe, but, it's hard to trust as well. Alvin Kamara had a decline this year. Nick Chubb, always part of a committee, hard to trust. So I've got question marks with all running backs, but out of the 5 that predicate on their situation, if everything goes well, they stay healthy. These are the 5 running backs I trust going into 2020 fantasy football. If you are new to the channel, make sure you guys do click that subscribe button and head on over to manscaped.com, guys. Use promo code SHOWERLION. Get yourself an amazing trimmer. Shave those balls. They've got shampoo, body wash. Go save yourself 20%. Manscaped.com. Go do that right now. Click subscribe, guys, and hope you enjoyed the show. Fantasy Football 2022 is here. Pre-orders are coming very soon for 16 rounds. Go check this website for updates at thefantasyfootballaccounts.com. And let's rock 2022 the same way we did with 2021. Let's dominate and robust RB. I'm out.